Well, a big thank you to everybody who's joining us live. We're very glad that you took time out of your day to attend. And those of you that are watching the recording, we're so glad that you're watching this in order to learn more about these amazing cruises that view the solar eclipse in 2026. So here's a quick overview of our agenda tonight. We're going to introduce you briefly to our agency. We're going to cover the itineraries in detail with Holland America. And then we also are going to show you a couple other itineraries that might be options for you. And there's a lot of overlap. So we're just going to hit the highlights on the itineraries. And then at the end, we'll have some pricing, and we'll also have just a little chance for Q&A. So we're so happy that you came here. You wanted to learn more about our business. We've been travel agents for 12 years, and we consider ourselves a very proactive agency. We look for unique opportunities and sailings for our clients that we think will just give them out of this world, just completely unique destination experience. And we have been ourselves to over 85 countries and unique destinations. And we use that firsthand knowledge that we get by traveling to help our clients have a dream vacation, that we have that firsthand knowledge where we can help better plan their vacation. So why use a travel agency and why specifically work with us? Well, we work on behalf of our clients. We are very customer focused. I have a lot of training and experience in the business. I book hundreds of cruises a year, whereas everybody else might book one or two. And I have knowledge of all the cruise lines. So I believe there's a cruise line to fit every style and budget, everything from, budget-friendly Carnival all the way to a luxurious cruise line like Regent and everything in between. My job is to match you up with one that's going to give you your dream experience. We add value to the process of booking your cruise, but not cost. It will never cost you more to book with me than it would if you just went online to the cruise line's website to book. And in some cases, I actually have a better deal or more perks or an additional offer. I'm easily accessible. You can reach me by phone, text, email, no matter where I am in the world, I will get back to you. And I work for you. Best of all, I earn a commission from the cruise lines. Again, it didn't cost you anything, so I get paid by the cruise lines. So now let's jump into these solar eclipse cruises. We're going to be focusing mostly on the Holland America ones. They're the ones we're kind of featuring. These cruises are 13 to 35 days. And we'll also, like I said, feature a couple of similar sailings with some other cruise lines, a little bit shorter distance. So let's look at that eclipse. It's going to be August 12th of 2026. It is going to be visible from the Arctic and all the way through that section of the Atlantic, from Spain and then into the Mediterranean. This is going to be a very unique experience, especially in the Arctic, because that time of year, it doesn't get totally dark. They're usually in 24-hour sun or pretty close to 24-hour sun. So it'll be interesting to see if the wildlife reacts differently when there's darkness in the middle of the day. This is a more up-close map where you can see the path. I'll show you. It's going to hit the western part of Iceland, some of the eastern and southeastern parts of Greenland. Then it goes here to Spain, and this is Menorca in Spain in the Mediterranean. So there's the path of the eclipse, and this is the time beginning. It's going to begin about 4:45 in the afternoon in Spain, about 1:45 in Greenland. Then the total eclipse will be, different times depending on what time zone you're in. Steve and I did what we call our accidental solar eclipse cruise on Holland America this spring. We were on a 16-night Panama Canal cruise, and we happened to be in Cabo San Lucas on the day of the eclipse. Now, this was not advertised or promoted as a solar eclipse cruise. We were in the 95% solar eclipse area, so it was actually much better than we would have seen if we had stayed home. And these are the pictures we took that day. We just put our little eclipse glasses over our cell phone and got these great pictures. And if you were going to do one of these eclipse cruises, I would suggest you bring your own eclipse glasses just to make sure that you have them. They're very inexpensive. You can order it on Amazon a couple of weeks before you leave. A cruise is such a wonderful way to view an eclipse. We had such a great time sitting out on the back deck of the cruise ship, watching the sun move. We had, complimentary drinks, great service. We were out by the pool. It was a very relaxed atmosphere. There's not going to be any traffic jams on a cruise ship. There's not going to be any big crowds trying to be all, into this one area viewing the eclipse. And the ship will have the ability to position itself where the viewing conditions and the weather are most favorable. Whereas, if you just go to like a town in Spain, you're probably not going to be able to, drive to another place to watch the eclipse. And it's so much more when you do a cruise that includes an eclipse, so much more than just the eclipse. It's not just that one day adventure, but it's many, many days of adventure and fun and exploring just incredible places that have some of the most breathtaking scenery, beautiful sights, interesting culture. So we're going to get into that. So this is the 35-night itinerary offered from Holland America. The longest we've done with Holland America was 28. And I have to tell you, a 28-day cruise goes by faster than you would think. We did a very similar version of this cruise in 2022, where we started in Boston. We circumnavigated Iceland and then headed back. We did not head over to mainland Europe on that one. And that was why it was 24 nights instead of 35. We did most recently a 28-night with Holland America, like I said, and it goes by so fast. There's so many beautiful things to see on this itinerary. And I'm lucky enough to be able to share a firsthand experience with most of the destinations on this map. And also includes the Netherlands and Norway. So you get it really is an expansive itinerary. You can see there's so many incredible places. You visit Ireland, the beautiful fjords of Iceland, Norway, incredible itinerary. And then here's a look at the 24-night itinerary. And this one is very similar in what you see in terms of Norway, Iceland, and Greenland, but it's a little different in that it goes down this side of the UK and you visit Scotland. And I looked, they're going to be overnight in Edinburgh, and it's when they have the Military Tattoo Festival. And that's the big bagpipe, drum and bugle corps festival with bands that compete from all over the world. So not only would you get to see the eclipse, but if the military tattoo is on your list, if you have any kind of Scottish heritage, it should be, you would have an opportunity to get tickets to see that as well through an excursion with Holland America. Here's a look at the 28-night itinerary in detail. You can look at all the ports that are visited there. And just give you a second to look at those. See, there's that overnight in Edinburgh, and there's August 12th, your solar eclipse cruising. And finally, we have a shorter itinerary in the Mediterranean. If you'd like a little bit warmer weather, this itinerary goes from Lisbon. It has a solar eclipse viewing day between Alicante and Barcelona. And then you get to visit this island, I believe that's Corsica, I think. It'll say on the next map. And then you end up in Athens, Greece. So that is a very expansive itinerary with lots of interesting things to see. So that was Corsica. That is Corsica, France. You also get a day in Rome, Kotor, Montenegro. Bari, Italy is this beautiful coastal city in the region of Puglia, Italy, right in the heel of the boot, the heel of the boot. And we're gonna dive in more deeply to these two Northern Europe itineraries. And I put the maps side by side just so you can see where there's overlap and there's slight differences. And I'm going to go through some of the highlights of the ports. I won't cover them all. We just don't have enough time. The two ships that are doing it, the 35-night cruise is the new Statendam, which is a Pinnacle class ship, about 2,700 passengers. And the other one is the Zuiderdam, which is a Vista class ship. It's a little bit under 2,000 passengers. We have sailed personally on both of these classes of ship, and we're glad to answer any questions you might have about the rooms, the food, the accommodations, the entertainment. Hopefully I will answer that in this presentation. So we're going to start with some of the places that are only on that 35 night. These are just a few of the pictures that I took from Canada. They really don't do justice to the Canadian Maritimes. Grossmore National Park from Corner Brook. I could have put 15 spectacular pictures in this presentation from that day. Wonderful scenic locations in the Canadian Maritimes National Parks of Labrador. That's actually Newfoundland. That was Newfoundland. Then we visited Red Bay, Labrador, and there you can see our ship sitting out there. We took tender boats in, and this is a little town of 500 people. The mayor of the town was standing at the tender pier, handing out maps and greeting everybody. They were so happy to have the cruise tourists in there. They were just thrilled to have us there. And they gave out a little map so we could do our own little walking tour of the town. Peggy's Cove is near Halifax. And I have to tell you, the wonderful thing about Nova Scotia, it's almost like being in Scotland or Ireland because there's so much of that influence in that area. And then St. John's, Newfoundland is known for its beautiful, colorful buildings. But we had so much more there. We walked up to this beautiful Irish Catholic basilica that was built for the immigrants in the early 20th century. There was a gentleman from the Historical Society that greeted us and offered us a free tour of the chapel. It was absolutely beautiful. Then he said, "Oh, you should go over next door to the convent. You just ring the doorbell and you can go and see the Veiled Virgin statue, which is a masterpiece by Giovanni Strazza." So we went over, rang the doorbell, and went in the little convent to the place to see the statue. It was amazing. The people were so friendly. I was walking down the street in St. John's, Newfoundland, and the lady's coming up the street with her Newfoundland dog. And I go, "Oh, can I take a picture with your dog?" And she said, "Oh, yes, Alan loves to take pictures with people." So I got a picture of the Newfoundland in Newfoundland. I was very excited. And then that's Sydney, Nova Scotia that you see in that far picture with the fiddle. The Celtic music and Celtic influence is so prevalent in Nova Scotia. And one of the things you can do there is there's a little concert hall right behind that fiddle, and you can book an excursion that includes a concert with local musicians. Now, these are some of the highlights of Greenland. I tried to capture, what I thought best represented Greenland. And one of the things is the rich traditions of the Inuit culture. Every little town has a museum where they have display some of the traditional garments that the Inuit people wore and the beautiful craftsmanship that they had with making these intricate collars out of beads. Churches are kind of the center of town in every one of these little small towns. And then I have a picture of Prince Christian Sound, which the cruise will travel through. There are dozens of hanging glaciers and 3 tidewater glaciers that you'll see as you're sailing through Prince Christian Sound. The mountains that surround it are all fraggly. They're beautiful. It's a lovely experience to go through Prince Christian Sound. And here's some more pictures from Greenland when we were there in 2022. We just got back from a trip to Greenland. That was our 3rd time to visit. I highly recommend visiting Greenland just for the beautiful little towns, the colorful buildings, the quaintness of each little town, and the chance to see how people in a completely different culture live, because their life is very simple and it's really quite lovely. The other picture I have here is from the capital Nuuk. The 28-night cruise visits Nuuk, and this is the National Museum that's right there. They have an incredible collection of Inuit art. They have some art from when the Vikings lived in that part of the world. There was a couple hundred years where the Vikings or the Norse people colonized Greenland, and then they left. They left, and the Inuit people came into that area and settled. But there's collections from the Nordic era, and they also have one of the most interesting artifacts. It was actually they're actually freeze-dried mummies. It was some people who were buried in such an area where it was dry enough and cold enough that their bodies naturally turned into mummies, and they were discovered. And it's one of the most important artifacts that they have found from the early Inuit civilization in Greenland, so that you can actually see those mummies at the museum. Very interesting. Highlights from Iceland. So the Norse culture, they were the first to colonize Iceland. Nobody lived there until the Vikings basically came. And it wasn't the Vikings that we think of as warriors. It was farmers. It was people that were coming over there to homestead and start a new life. And they brought their animals with them. That's why we have these two unique breeds of animals. We have the Icelandic sheepdog, who you see just sitting up there, so cute. And then we have the incredible Icelandic horses. These horses actually have 5 gaits. So a typical horse will have 3 gaits. These horses have 5 gaits, and one of them is so smooth that it's demonstrated by the rider holding a stein of beer that does not spill. Next, we have some of the beautiful volcanic landscapes, waterfalls, and of course, the architecture of the capital city, and even a visit to the botanical gardens. These, again, are all my own pictures. I'm so pleased to be able to share them with you because you can have a professional photographer take pictures under the best conditions with the best equipment. Well, these were all taken with my cell phone. So it really gives you an idea of what it really looks like. Here's some more highlights from Iceland. There's the Godafoss waterfalls, which are near Akureyri. So you can take a tour from Akureyri to go see those. And then these other 2 waterfalls are on the South Coast tour. So that's a day tour that you can take from Reykjavik. Ireland. So the 35-day cruise visits Ireland. And of course, there's beautiful churches, interesting landscapes, ruined castles and preserved ones. And of course, they have that fun pub culture in Ireland where everybody, communally drinks together, celebrates, listens to music. It's a wonderful way to experience Ireland. And these are a couple more highlights from Ireland, just showcasing the lush greenery. This is St. Kevin's Monastery, where you see that spire. It was one of the first Christian settlements in Ireland. And then Guinness. Guinness is really the lifeblood of Dubliners. It is such an important company to them. And it's one of the most coveted jobs is to be the Guinness driver. So a visit to the Guinness storehouse is a must. Both cruises visit a little bit of Norway. This is one of the few pictures, the pictures of Pulpit Rock, which is just outside of Stavanger, Norway. That is not my own, because you would not catch me dead standing with that person once taking that picture. I have such a fear of heights, but don't worry. If you want to go see this beautiful fjord, you can take a little scenic cruise down at the bottom of the mountain and not at the top. And then that's a picture of the city of Stavanger, Norway. There's a wonderful petroleum museum there where you can learn about the petroleum development in Norway and how it's an important part of their economy. There's also these beautiful picture-perfect fishing villages and modern towns like Kristiansand, Norway, one of the ports that you visit on a couple of the cruises. So that's kind of the highlights of that 35-day and the 28-day. It's so hard to capture how amazing those itineraries are. I've done most of the ports on different cruises, and I can tell you, you will not be disappointed if you book one of those cruises. You will see some of the most spectacular scenery and experience the most interesting cultures that you have in your entire life. Of course, the Mediterranean is no slouchy place to go. So let's talk about this itinerary. You do have a solar eclipse viewing day. That's going to be the 4th day of the cruise between Alicante and Barcelona. But what else are you going to see and do? Well, first of all, you're going to be on the Oosterdam ship. So this is a Vista class ship, just under 2,000 passengers. Again, not a big crowded ship, very nice size. And then we've got Lisbon. So you're going to start in Lisbon. I would say if you do this cruise, it would be worth it to spend a couple extra days in Lisbon. These pictures do not even begin to do Lisbon justice. I have to tell you, I had to grab a couple of pictures from our trip, and I thought, well, these at least represent some of the beautiful things that you see, like the architecture. This was a picture from the terrace of our hotel at night. You can see the beautiful city all lit up. And then one of the main squares that's kind of down by the waterfront. The city of Lisbon, it's easy to get around. We found almost everyone spoke English. There was great shopping, great food. Loved Lisbon. It was really an incredible place to visit. And then let's move on. Barcelona and Alicante. So Alicante you'll visit first, And it is a city known for its beaches, wine tasting opportunities. There's some interesting caves nearby. There's charming little villages that you can go visit. And it has a lot of Art Nouveau architecture. So you can actually book a tour where you're actually, viewing the architectural wonders. Then Barcelona. So the Sagrada Familia, which is still under construction, it really is the heart and soul of Barcelona. There's so many different things to do in the city of Barcelona, between the Maritime Museum. They have scenic cable car rides. The Ramblas is the famous shopping and dining street where you see street performers. There's also many, in addition to the Sagrada Familia, many beautiful buildings designed by Antonio Gaudi. There's beaches. It's a city worth visiting. But if you wanted to get kind of off the beaten path, there are tours that go to the Montserrat Monastery, which is located just outside of town. So Barcelona, great place to visit. And let me go back to that slide, between Alicante and Barcelona, that will be your solar eclipse scenic sailing day. The cruise also goes to Italy. It goes to I mentioned Puglia, which is in the boot, and it goes to Rome. So when you're in Rome, you've got so many things to choose from. You might choose the Forum and the Colosseum area, or maybe tour Vatican City, St. Peter's Basilica, and the Vatican Museum. Or you might even want to just take a strolling street tour where you can see these beautiful, impressive fountains, statues. You can visit different churches, and there are some of the finest works of art in the world by painters and sculptors like Michelangelo, Bernini, or Titian, located in just these, the corner churches in Rome. Beautiful place to visit. Kotor. And it kind of looks like a fjord, and it's a different geological formation that created these mountains and the like little fjord area. I don't know what it's what to call it. It's a narrow channel between two mountains, but it's not created through glacial drift. It is actually just these mountains, I believe, were uprise mountains. It's a great place to sail into. You sail into the morning, you have mountains on both sides. There are lots of interesting buildings inside the old walled town. And there's even a little hike that you can take up one of the mountains where you can get to a fortress and you can see like the whole valley, like the whole bay and the mountains and the city all together. If you do a tour that's called Kotor by Land and Sea, you'll stop at a special island where there is a chapel that's dedicated to mariners and praying for their safety. Athens, Greece is where this cruise ends. Another place that would be worthwhile to spend a little bit of extra time. You definitely want to go to the Acropolis, and don't miss out on the Acropolis Museum, because a lot of the treasures that were found on the Acropolis site are housed in the museum so that they can be protected from weather and wear. Maybe you might want to do a food tour in Athens, or an evening drive that would take you up to the surrounding hills. These buildings are beautiful when they're lit up at night, and to see them from those different viewpoints is quite stunning. You can also take a tour outside. A lot of people go to Delphi because that was the spiritual center of ancient Greece. So if you're going to be going on the cruise for 13 or 35 days, you want to make sure that you are doing it in a cruise line that you're going to enjoy. And we're going to share with you what we love about Holland America. They have destinations that make it perfect for explorers. Their food on board is wonderful. So their culinary council makes sure that they're delivering delicious food to you at every meal. They have one of the best onboard music programs with their music walk. They will either have the B.B. King Blues Club, or they will have the Rolling Stone Rock Room. They almost always have a sing-along piano player, and they have lots of guest musicians that play in the big theater. And then, of course, their service is absolutely amazing. So friendly, so personalized. And their ships are spacious for the number of passengers they carry. There's plenty of public space. And so whether or not you're super active and you are, maybe a little bit more mobility impaired, there's a way for you to explore in almost every port with Holland America. They have excursions that are panoramic. You might get off the bus a couple of times. And then if you're more active, you can go off on your own hiking or even book a more active excursion. Part of their culinary program is their fresh fish program. It has been curated by Iron Chef Matsuhara Morimoto, and they are making sure that they are delivering fresh fish to the ship at different times during your cruise. It's not just delivered on embarkation day. Here's an example of some of the food that we enjoyed on our 24-night cruise. The dive-in, wonderful burgers. At sail-away parties, they have these wonderful light bites. They have a pizza restaurant, and this is in the main dining room. It was beef tenderloin night, but they also had fish and chips. And so I said, can I get both? So that's my little creative surf and turf. Absolutely delicious. The Lido Marketplace is their gourmet quick service dining. The food is prepared for you a la minute and plated for you. Very lovely. My husband and I have gotten where we really like the Asian station because they have usually a different curry or an Indian curry every day. Very good food. And they have specialty dining venues on Holland America program. And depending on the rate program that you book with, you can get some specialty dining experiences included in the price of your cruise. These two are featured. They are the Pinnacle Grill, which is their traditional steakhouse, and the Canaletto, which is an Italian bistro. Wonderful food there. Talked a little bit already about the music program. We love listening to the musicians and the singers that are either part of the Rolling Stone Rock Band or the B.B. King Blues Club. Great singers. They do a wide variety of music, including blues, country, rock and roll, classic rock, a little bit of everything, a little bit for everybody. And they also have a acoustic trio that do like acoustic jazz sets. And then in the main theater, they have lots of different type of entertainers that come in as guest entertainers, or they rotate among different ships. This is one that was like a boy band type group that they did harmonic singing. We've seen piano players, violinists, lots of different type of singers, performers come in as guest act. And you're going to be completely pampered when you go on Holland America. Their crew is second to none. They have lots of experience, and I have a wonderful service story to tell you. So when we went on our 28-night cruise, it was my husband and I and one of our good friends and his 4-year-old son. Now, there were like 3 kids on the whole cruise, so there weren't a lot of kids. But when we sat down at dinner, they would bring the tray of bread, and it was delicious. And the little 4-year-old would fill up on the bread and then not really be hungry when dinner time came. So we asked if we could get veggies instead of bread. We said, just slice vegetables, crudités. And yeah, we thought, oh, they're not going to get that right. This is what was waiting for us on our table when we sat down the next night, and every night throughout the rest of the cruise. And it was so great to be able to eat these veggies instead of filling up on the delicious bread. But, these are a lot healthier for you. And on the opposite end of being healthy, they had a wonderful event on the cruise. It was a county fair where they had carnival games, carnival food, like these delicious candied apples, popcorn. That was an interesting thing. And they do those kinds of different events on the longer cruises so that you're not just doing the same thing every night. It was a lot of fun. You played carnival games, you got tickets for prizes. Very nice experience. And the ships are beautifully decorated, just the right size. This will be your home away from home. Most of the standard balcony cabins have a seating area with a love seat or sofa and a little desk and a bed, and then a nicely appointed bathroom. And people used to tell me all the time that Holland America was for old people. But after experiencing such a lively atmosphere on my last 4 or 5 Holland American cruises, I can tell you that you can have a lot of fun at any age on a Holland America cruise. There's so many fun things to do. You're only as old as you feel, and Holland America has a little something for everyone. You can be as active and as busy as you want, or if you want to just chill and relax by the side of the pool or on the promenade deck with a book, you can do that too. People always ask me this because some of these cruises are longer. What about laundry? So they don't have self-service laundry on the ships anymore. It's $35 a bag for a cloth bag, as much as you can fit. But what we have been doing for the last couple long cruises we've done with Holland America is we purchase the unlimited laundry package. It's $8.50 per day for the entire voyage. And we'll send stuff. Sometimes we'll send out 2 bags in one day, or maybe a bag every other day. It makes it so much easier. You don't have to pack nearly as much. And if you're new to cruising, I feel like it's good to kind of look at all the general things that are included in your cruise fare. So you have got of course, your accommodations, your fine dining in that main dining room, casual dining. They have a wonderful gym with cardio equipment and strength equipment. You get movies on demand and movies in the theater. All kinds of enrichment opportunities, like lectures on the local culture or the area that you're visiting, the flora and fauna, cooking demonstrations, activities, sports. There's a lot that you get on Holland America. But they have a special program that's running right now for these cruises. It is called the Have It All Early Booking Bonus. And these are all the things you can include in your cruise if you choose to book with the Have It All rate. So the one big plus that they don't always include is the free prepaid gratuities for the dining staff and the housekeeping staff. You get a low price guarantee. Depending on the length of your cruise, you get a shore excursion allowance of up to $300 a person. You get the premium Wi-Fi package, you get the elite beverage package, and you get specialty dining. So if you book when it's not an early booking bonus and you choose Have It All, you don't get the gratuities, you get the standard Wi-Fi and the standard beverage package. So the early booking bonus really gives you the most complete package when you book. And there's a couple ways you can book. So you can book at that early booking bonus rate. And I've actually adjusted on this slide for the new gratuity rate. So you can see that the free gratuities are even more valuable, and the specialty dining and the shore excursion credit included. I do have what's called an advantage fare, or I have my CruiseOne group rates. Those are deeply discounted. They don't include Have It All. But here's the best part. If you want to book with that, you can add Have It All to those rates for the rate of $55 per person per day. And that, when I have a group rate, it gives you a huge savings. And I'm going to show that on the next slide. So this is our first slide. So this is that 35-night cruise. I mean, I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. It's a little pricey. It's 35 nights. But if you break it down to the price per day and think about it, that it's really like 5 cruises in one, it's pretty reasonably priced. And if you book with my group rates with the Have It All Plus added, this is what you're looking at per person, but there's a savings over just booking directly with Holland America. So we always try to give our clients a little something extra. And one of those things is the group rates we have buying power, and we're able to give you a little bit of a discount. I wanted you to see the prices for the other dates. The 28-night cruise, it's running between, about $7,000 to $8,500 for an ocean view, depending on if you book with or without the Have It All Plus rates. The balcony cabins, this is typically what most of my clients book, is balcony. So I wanted to give you a good comparison of those rates. And then the 13-night cruise, you can see that this is a great value. The 13-night cruise per day is the most expensive, but it's also the least expensive of all these cruises. So in an unobstructed balcony, you're looking at about $6,800 a person with the Have It All. And I want to go over again what the time-sensitive promotions are. So we've got the early booking bonus. There's also another one. If you have sailed with Holland America before, you can get up to $400 if you book these European itineraries by October 30th, because that's 90 days from the launch date, and they give you a special onboard credit if you book early. They also have a couple of promotions that are evergreen. I always like to make sure that my clients know about this. You get onboard credit if you're an AARP member, and if you are a former military or active duty, you get $100 onboard credit, and I can show you how to do that. There's some forms to fill out online. So
clear that member benefit, the $400 is just for those longer ones. It's $200, I think, for the 13 days.
Okay, $200 for the, thank you, Steve. And as a special gift to you, we are going to treat you to dinner and lunch on the 35-night and the 28-night cruise. We're adding a sea day lunch for you, our treat, in the Pinnacle Grill, and an additional night in the Canaletto, which is nice. It's one of my favorites, so it's nice to have an additional night there. And if you book that 13-night, we wanted to put together a special offer. So if you book an ocean view or higher category cabin on that 13-night with us, in the next couple of weeks, you're going to get $100 onboard credit per cabin. Now, I talked to you that maybe those extra long Holland America cruises might not be the best fit for everybody. And so we wanted to show you that there are other solar eclipse cruises at different price points that are available that we can book for you. We book every single cruise line, and I am here to help you compare and see which one is the right one for you for this type of experience. Celebrity is going to release their Europe schedule the first week of October. So it's possible that they might have some solar eclipse cruises. The Carnival cruise, believe it or not, is already sold out. So just wanted to kind of point that out, but I'll show you the Virgin Voyages itinerary. Now, Virgin is a little bit of a rock and roll cruise line, adults only, a little bit edgy, but great food and avant-garde entertainment, I guess would be the way to put it, but they always have great bands on board as well. They're doing two that are similar. This is similar to the Mediterranean one, a little bit different ports. And then the Fire and Ice one, I do want to point out that they are in Akureyri on Solar Eclipse Day, and that is just going to be right at the edge of the total eclipse area. So unless they have a tour maybe that goes a little bit further west, you're probably going to be more in like that 95% range on that particular cruise. We thought 95% was pretty cool, though, I have to tell you. The Princess itinerary. So their solar eclipse viewing is going to be August 12th at sea. The Cunard itinerary, their solar eclipse viewing day is going to be in La Coruna, Spain. And then Azamara is doing 3 cruises that have solar eclipse viewing days. They're running, starting with the short one for 11 nights for a balcony. It's running about $5,200 per person. The longer one's going to be a little bit more, but if you do an inside or an ocean view, it's going to be less. So wanted to make sure you saw that. And here's their 3 itineraries. So they'll be viewing the solar eclipse on this Iceland one on August 12th at sea, and on the Mediterranean one. And you'll see a lot of the same ports. That's why I didn't go into every itinerary in detail. This one is going to be August 12th between Toulon and Barcelona. They're going to have to sail a little bit west of Barcelona in order to be able to see that. And then you notice they have another one that's Ireland. They are going to have on the 12th at sea, they're going to sail out into the eclipse area. There's 2 luxury cruise lines that are offering it, but they are already waitlisted. Both of these ships are like 300 passengers. It's not very expensive to get on the wait list, and we think with it being 2 years out, if you wanted to have one of these luxury small cruise experiences in Iceland or in the Mediterranean, we can get you on the wait list for that. And I really quickly, because I'm running out of time. I got 3 more minutes. I want to let you know we do these cruises that are from the United States. They go all over the world, and you don't have to take an overseas flight. If you're ready to go to Iceland next year, we have a wonderful group that is under $3,800 total for two in a balcony cabin. It includes drinks and Wi-Fi. So you might want to, if you're interested in that, reach out to us. We're having a webinar on September 12th for our Avalon Bordeaux River Cruise, and we recently hosted a webinar for our Gems of Southeast Europe with Los Milix Vineyard. We're also having an Avalon Romantic Rhine Cruise webinar, and we'll be presenting that on November 7th. We've taken out of Scandinavian capitals with Holland America, and we have 2 ways to do Antarctica in 2026. You can do a 14-night scenic sailing from a celebrity cruise, or if you're interested in actually landing on the continent, we have an exceptional group rate with Aurora Expeditions for a cruise that actually lands. You will be able to walk around, take zodiacs. We're having a webinar on that tomorrow night. And we just also recently hosted a webinar from this. Eric Allen from Ascension Cellars will be back in March of 2026 on the Celebrity Ascent to host our winemakers exclusive program. And that's a wonderful program where he brings his wine on board the ship and hosts 4 wine tasting events just for the people booked into my group. So here are the featured itineraries that we talked about tonight. The 35-night Voyage of the Vikings. I have to tell you, if you can do the time and get away and do that, you will not be disappointed. There are so many incredible things to see on that cruise. If you need a little bit shorter time, we've got the 28-night Scandinavian Solar Eclipse, and that can depart either from Rotterdam or London. They have 2 like starting and ending points. It's just kind of interesting that they do that. And then the 13-day Mediterranean, again, some beautiful stops in the Mediterranean, and very, very wonderful way to see an eclipse. So now I finished my presentation right at 5:45. We'll open it up to questions, and I'm happy to answer any questions. So is there anything I need to go back and go over? You'll need to unmute
If you have a
yourself.
question you want to ask, yeah, you have to unmute yourself.
Dick, did
Go
you
ahead,
have a
Dick.
question?
Yeah, which of these are being hosted by you?
We are just promoting them. We're not escorting these groups. Some of the other ones we are, but not this one.
Okay.
Maybe we'll change our mind.
I got a question, Suzanne.
Yeah, sure.
You said, what is the sign up time to be signed up for the early bonus stuff on the, like the 35-day, the 28-day, stuff like that?
So the $400 onboard credit, you've got to be booked, deposited by October 30th. For the early
27th
booking,
or 28th, we'd have to count the actual dates. It launched on the 27th or 28th of July, and it's 90 days from there.
and the early booking bonus, they don't really tell you what the time frame is for it, but usually we see it. You have to book at least 9 months in advance to get that early booking bonus. I think that these cruises have a good chance of selling out a year in advance.
Holland America had 2 other cruises that are already sold out for the solar eclipse.
Yeah, and like I said, the Carnival is already sold out. The 2 luxury cruises that have the small ships, they're already waitlisted. You know, Holland America has pretty big ships, so it's a little more time to fill those. But I would say book as soon as possible for the best selection. Deposits in most cases are going to be refundable. So I know 2 years is a long way out, but with your deposit refundable up until 120 days before departure, that's when your final payment is due on the longer cruises. It's 90 days on that shorter 14-day cruise. There's no risk. You know, you can go ahead and book now, and then if you know something, I mean, life happens. There's reasons why you might need to change your cruise. I just don't want to get you locked into a non-refundable deposit. So we'll just make sure that we're quoting that for you. Any other questions? Okay, well, we want to go ahead and stop the recording, Steve, and I'll quit